All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about the squat day, right? Dynamic warm-up and hip mobility. So I'm going to start with the lizard lunge and downward facing dog. We're going to be using both of these movements in conjunction with each other. So basically, you're just going to start off in that push-up position, bringing the foot to the side of the hand and rotate, right? Now, as you rotate, you want to keep that back knee straight, right? Really flex that quad, and that's going to help stretch out the hip flexors, right? The psoas and the adductors, right? Those inner thighs, hamstrings, glute max, glute medius, piriformis, right? Just stretching out every muscle in the hip complex. You know, just gearing up and dialing everything in for that squat position. So now this is also very challenging for your core. And now pushing back into this position here, we see we're pushing into the calves, the heels, right? Stretching out the calves and the hamstrings, which is super important for your squat, because you don't just need mobile hips, but you need mobile ankles also, so you can sit in that bottom position in the squat. So now what I would say is you can do this, right? Run through this whole drill about one set 4 times. So that means bringing the foot in on the left and the right, and then pushing back into the heels to get into that downward facing dog. Doing that whole thing, right? All 3 movements, which is the left and the right, and then the downward facing dog, going through that a total of 4 times. Okay, and that should be good enough to start, right? To get loosened up here. And so the thing I like about all of this is just the fact that you're turning on muscles, challenging muscles, as well as stretching everything out. So MEDBALL hip bridge, pretty simple, pushing the hips up to the ceiling. Right? And so now this is a little bit more advanced because you're adding the MEDBALL, the medicine ball, underneath the feet to challenge the stability, right, at the hips. So really firing those glutes, right, at the top position, firing that glute max and that glute med. And then you'll see a little bit of, it'll cause a little bit of wobbliness, right, because the ball is round, obviously. It's not flush to the ground, right? So it challenges your hip stability a little bit more. Now the resistance band bodyweight squat, this is going to target more so of the glute medius, okay? And so I do it kind of like a little bit of a jailhouse squat where you place your hands on the back of your neck. Now understand that you're not pulling on your back of your neck, you're really just focusing on resting the hands back there and pushing the elbows up and the knees apart, right? Further activating that glute medius and your spinal erectors. So TRX single leg split squat. So now this is where we start challenging your hip stability and challenging the muscles in the legs, right? We're getting a little bit more co-contraction here at the quads, hamstrings, right? That push and pull in the leg, fire in the glutes, stabilizing that glute medius, right? Soleus, everything's working here, right? And now that back leg is going to shoot backwards, further stretching out the hip flexors, right? Further stretching out that psoas that connects up into the torso. Okay. So you can do this for like 1 or 2 sets with 10 reps on each side. You don't really want to do too much because you don't want to fatigue yourself too much before you actually get into the barbell squat work, right? And so all of this really is for a barbell back squat, right? This is what you're really gearing up for here. So now the barbell in your lap squat. This is just to get comfortable in that bottom position. Not a whole lot of work here, right? You're basically just sitting in that squat position. So the barbell is going to rest right before the knee. And the weight from the barbell is going to push down on the quad, right? Pushing the knee over the toe, further stretching out the ankles, right? Stretching out everything around the ankle. So stretching out your Achilles, your soleus, right? Gastroc, everything like that. Not so much gastroc you're going to be stretching out in this position, but more so, soleus and everything connecting into the Achilles. So here, I would sit in this position for about 2 to 4 minutes, right? Just getting comfortable in that bottom position. And the reason why this is so important is just because when you're squatting and you're going down, you're descending, you want to be completely comfortable in that descent. You want to be completely comfortable in your bottom position, right? Because a lot of people are scared to squat deep because they're terrified of getting stuck at the bottom, right? Because they just don't feel comfortable in the bottom. So a lot of people half squat, they just barely touch parallel and shoot back up. And so here you want to be able to drop all the way, sit on your calves, and use that stretch reflex from the hamstrings to shoot back up out of that bottom position quick, right? Really develop some speed there. Now, for me especially, this is important because I don't really want to spend a whole lot of energy stopping short and then reversing the inertia on the barbell, pushing back up, right? Because as you're dropping down, all that force is going down, and then you got to stop it and change directions and stand back up, and that can really suck a lot of energy out of you, rather than just riding the bar all the way down until you hit all the way in the bottom position, sitting on the calves and pop back up. So now barbell good morning and back squat. So this is another complex here where you're mainly positioning, as well as working on reinforcing good torso position. So now here, when you hinge over and you're sitting in that bottom position, right, you're really working on keeping that chest up, getting comfortable with the bar on the back, right, and making sure you don't round out at the back. Right? Really turning on the spinal erectors, right, turning on those obliques and all the stabilizing muscles in the torso. Okay, because you want to make sure that you're as vertical as possible when you're squatting. You really don't want to be squatting with a flexed spine. That's just all kinds of issues waiting to happen. You don't want to slip a disc, herniations, or anything like that, right? So the strongest position for the spine is the extended position, not flexed. So for all of you out there who are doing crunches, stop it and start extending. That's pretty much it on my part. All right, and thank you for watching.